Hello everyone, this is Jinju at kimchimari.com. Happy New Year 2022. My first video of the year, I want to share a very old classic traditional Korean tea cookies. They're no-bake cookies and they're called tashiq in Korean. Ta means tea in Korean, so tashiq are cookies that are supposed to be served with tea. Of course, you can have it as desserts these days or as snacks. So tashiq also is enjoyed at different traditional holidays in Korea. So Lunar New Year is coming up, so definitely you want to make it for that. Also, Koreans are big on ancestral ceremonies, 제사, and it was served to the ancestors during those ceremonies too. And you can make them at Chuseok too if you like. And also at weddings, it was a big way to celebrate, congratulate, and also wish all the best happiness, wealth, fertility for weddings. And my story of tashiq, I wish I can tell you that when I was a kid, I grew up seeing my mom make it. Honestly, actually not. Actually, when I was growing up, we never made it at home. It was always just bought. Sorry. When I was a kid, anybody actually I saw around me, they didn't really make tashiq at home. It was usually just gifted in boxes. But so I kind of was really not thinking about tashiq for many years. But my affection for it started many years ago. I think 2013 or 14 probably. I got to visit a Korean tteoksal artisan, Myungin, and this gentleman spent his whole life learning, refining his technique, and making this wonderful tashiq mold that you use. And this one has 12. Or actually 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Actually, Koreans consider odd numbers to be a prosperous number. So 11. And so then I started exploring making tashiq. Before we get started on making the tashiq, I wanted to show you how to kind of care for the tashiq pan, and also how to prepare it before you use it. So because this is wood, we want to keep it kind of moist or seasoned. So here's some sesame oil, and we want to just lightly coat the whole tashiq pan with sesame oil. So if you use it often, just do it every time before you use. If you're not going to use it, just remember to do it every couple months or something. Especially if you live in a dry climate like I do in California, the wood will really get dried up. So it's good to protect it from the dry climate. And then the other thing that is nice to do, kind of coat it with sesame oil before you use. It will release the tashiq a lot more easily if it's has a little bit of a coating of oil. So yeah, make sure you kind of coat it, and then we want to wipe it wipe it out. We don't want too much oil in it, excess. And then what I actually like to do a lot of times when I do this, the first thing I want to make is probably the sesame seed tashiq, because that way then it works perfectly well. You may not want the flavor of sesame oil and maybe some of the other tashiq. So unless it's all very nicely wiped down, you may not want to do that. So another great way is to coat it like the day before. You wipe it down and let the wood absorb all that wonderful oil. So when Koreans make tashiq, they typically like to make it in 5 different colors if you want it to make it extra special. And this comes from the Korean traditional color scheme called 오방색. O means 5, 방 means direction, and it was white, black, yellow, that's kind of brownish, I know, blue, and red. But when you actually make tashiq, because there's no absolute blue, I guess you can use pea flour, or yellow was also hard, and red too, so they took liberties of doing more the pinkish or more the orangish route for the red. And I find in a lot of the traditional literatures that they actually would sometimes use, this is sesame seeds, use that or soybeans for white. So they did take some liberties, but yeah, so it comes from that belief that 5 elements, 5 colors, 5 directions is sort of completes the overall balance, and people made it in these colors to wish guests or as gifts to people, to honorees, to wish them the best of health and happiness. Also for weddings, they would make these in different colors. Not only that, all the different designs, they have different meanings, and they will wish, prosperity, wealth, happiness, fertility, all of that with these tashiq. This is just white rice flour. It's dry, that you can just buy from anywhere. And I've tried different methods. The old traditional way is to actually cook the rice. And I tried that, and you're supposed to steam it, dry it, try to make it into a powder. Oh my God, the number of hours, and it doesn't even ground well. So I tried the other method, and that works fine. So this rice flour, we want to add 2 tablespoons of water first, and then we will mix it. This is not going to become a dough, it's going to just become wet rice flour. And this is basically the same technique you want to use to make 설기떡. So the duck that comes out like a cake, I don't know if you've seen those, they're kind of like flaky. So I'm adding another tablespoon of water. If you hold it in between your hands and you let go, it should retain the form but not break apart easily like that. And if you kind of toss it, it shouldn't break too well. So it's almost there. This is pretty wet. Right, it's holding its shape. Oh yeah, and I forgot almost. You want to add about 1/8 teaspoon of salt. So this is a 1/4 teaspoon, so I used about half. And then what we're going to do is, you can just use a regular steamer, but I have this silicone liner that I use for making 떡, and because otherwise it will all fall through. So we will put all the wet rice flour into the steamer like so, and then spread it out. Okay, spread it out, and we're going to steam this covered for 20 minutes on high heat, medium-high heat. Okay, so this has been 20 minutes, and we have basically kind of 설기떡, but I did make it a tad dry than 설기떡, so it's not going to be the same. Okay, so here we go. This is how it's going to be. Okay, so let's make the syrup. So this is a sort of a combination of different syrups and water and sugar. You can certainly just use honey if you want and a little bit of water. But here it is. So it's a 1/4 cup of sugar. And to that, we'll add about 2 tablespoons of water. And we'll melt that first. This is kind of on medium heat. Obviously we don't want to burn it, but we just want to make sure the sugar is all melted. Okay, and then it's starting to boil a little bit, so I'll just reduce the heat. And then to that, we'll add about 1/4 cup of gochujang, which is Korean rice syrup. So in the old days, this was mainly the syrup that Koreans used to make sweets, desserts. It's also used to make yakgwa. So yeah, try to get all of that in. Keep mixing, stirring. Then we'll add a 1/4 cup of honey. So yeah, we're going to mix all of that in. And yeah, make sure it's all nicely mixed. We are trying not to reduce it. We want the syrup to be kind of watery. If it gets too thick, then you can always add some more water. But and of course it will get thicker once it cools down. But this is kind of the consistency we want. So we'll just bring it to just a quick boil for a little bit, and then we'll turn it off. Okay, yeah, that's good enough. Let's turn it off, and then we'll let this cool. Okay, next we'll do the easiest ones first. So if you don't have time, don't want to mess with all the 5 colors and all of that, you can just do sesame seeds, and it's actually, I kind of like it, one of my top favorite. So sesame seeds are so good by itself anyway. So it comes out really yummy. It's just not the prettiest, and the black one especially, you can't really see the designs as well. But in terms of health and everything, it's wonderful. So this is 2 tablespoons of black sesame seeds that I ground to like pretty fine as you can get into powder. And this was just regular, you know, brown. So these are both roasted. You have to make sure they're roasted sesame seeds. So if you can only buy raw, then you should roast it in a pan first. So this is a table, but I'm using that, this is the honey gochujang rice syrup mixture. So I'm going to start with about 1.5 teaspoon of the syrup. Okay. Then just mix it all up. And to make it even more yummy, you can add a pinch of salt. You know, salt and sugar always is together. When they're together, they enhance each other, you know, flavor. So yeah, just keep mixing, and that's where you want to stop. So this is after it's all blended in the Vitamix, you know, blade for dry grains and stuff. So this, I ran it on high for quite a bit, you know, a couple minutes, maybe, yeah, a minute or so. And see, it's now perfectly, it feels like just regular rice flour. So it blended perfectly, but this is cooked rice flour. So we can eat this. So that's white, and we're going to make the white dough first. We're going to start with a couple tablespoons. 2. Okay, 2 tablespoons. We're going to add so this is good. No, that's fine. Okay, so red. So the most commonly used one is omija, the 5-flavor berry. And the best kind to use is the omija syrup. So this omija syrup are made from these omija berries. These are dried ones, but it's actually made from fresh ones, and you let that sit with some sugar over, I think probably a few months, and you get this wonderful 5-flavor syrup, but it also works perfectly. So this is what it looks like, and it works perfectly for tashiq. The other ingredient you can use, this is hibiscus tea. So you can actually make hibiscus tea water and then mix it with syrup. Now it looks red here. Unfortunately, when you make the tashiq, it's going to come out pink more than red. So pink color is usually the accepted substitution for red. The other that I just recently discovered is you can use carrots. This is dried, grated, or blended into powdered carrots. And you can use that alone by itself with some syrup, or you can mix it with rice flour, the white base rice flour powder. So pink, red, however you want to say, it's in that red-pink range. This is 2 tablespoons of the rice flour, and I'm going to add a teaspoon of omija syrup, the 5-flavor berry syrup that I actually sell on my store, my shop. I opened a shop this last year actually, December. So yeah, these make wonderful teas, hot or cold, icy cold. The flavors, it's sweet and sour is the main flavor, but it's just kind of so much more than that. It's hard to describe. There's just I think because of the 5 flavors that's there, the bitterness, very slight bitterness. You don't really taste it, but I think it makes it not just a simple sweet sour, it makes a beautiful balanced flavor. Okay, so I'm going to put a teaspoon more. I think that should do it. So just keep on mixing, and so yeah, I think that will make a perfect pink tashiq. And let's go on to the next color. So for green, we're going to start with 2, I think I'm going to do actually 3 tablespoons of the rice powder, and then that's like a 1/4 teaspoon. You can do less for lighter green. We're going to add one and a half. We're going to start with that, and we're going to mix it all well. Yes, if you don't want to get your hands dirty, you can also do it with two spatulas like this, and you just keep mixing. So this is probably best for keeping the shape and the imprint design. So the way the tashiq pan works, right? For this side, you raise up the lever, and so then you get this the first level to come up, and then you have this now pocket where you can put in the tashiq, and you fill it up, and then when you're done, you lower it, and the tashiq pops up. The other side, this one doesn't have that system, so what you need to do is actually we use a plastic wrap to kind of line it. You fill it up, and then you pop it up with the plastic wrap. So okay, so let's start the sesame seed one. This is for yellow. Again,
The traditional ingredient to use there is 홍화 가루, which is the pine pollen, and that is honestly, I don't love the flavor. It's just like really powdery, but it is kind of a rare ingredient to get in the US right now. In Korea too, I don't think it's used in any other way in cooking. So, okay, so make sure when you do it, you want to fill up all the way to the top, and you want to press it down as much as you can so that it fills up all those little gaps. Okay, next is the black one, black sesame seeds. Oops. Want to fill that up. Maybe a little more. So yeah, there's the black one. And then you want to kind of, before especially you do the lighter color one, you want to wipe your hands so you don't get the black sesame seeds onto the white tashiq, for example. So that's the white rice flour. Okay. You can also do mung beans, 녹말, 녹주 가루. So you can soak mung beans, the ones that doesn't have the skin, and so will give you not as white as this one, but it will give you somewhat of a white color. So you can cook that and then make powder with it and go through the similar process I did here. So here, there's the, let's do the, I chose the pink one for this 매실 or plum flour. So, oh, so pretty. I love this pink. And when you taste it, the 5 flavor omija, I just love the flavor of that. There's just something, it's just not a simple sweet and sour. So I guess there is that something extra flavor that just makes it so refreshing. So I love making, making a mess here, making drinks with that. Okay, so maybe just a little more there. So that's the pink. And then lastly, the green. So this one I chose to use green here. Oops, and I got some stuff in there. You can kind of shake it out like that if you don't want other colors in there. This is the, I don't know if you can see, is the letter for tea, cha. So I thought it was appropriate we use green for that one. Okay, so fill that up. A little more maybe. Okay, and even it all out. And I did show in the beginning how to care for and how to sort of prep the mold before you use it. It's good to coat it lightly with sesame oil. Actually, if you do it a few hours before, the day before, it's best because it'll soak it up without being too, and then you want to wipe off the excess, of course. So anyway, here are the 5 colors. The pink, there we go. Pink is kind of hard to see in one of my cameras, but believe me, that's pink. Okay, now for the pop down, yes. And then we have the tea. Perfect, right? Cha there. We have the plum flour, 매실 flour there. And then the white, my phone camera, there we go. So that's the design of grapes. Okay, going back, that's the design of the flour. That's the design of the letter cha. And this one, although it's hard to see, it has the three swirl design there. Each of these designs have meaning. I meant to look it up. I don't. I know the grapes mean fertility because there are a lot of grapes. But this is just a regular design. I know it doesn't have any special meaning. This one I'm not quite sure. But anyway, there we go. Isn't that just so pretty and wonderful and so fun to do with your kids, or you may want to impress your guests for your Lunar New Year party. Serve this as a dainty little dessert at the end, or have some afternoon tea with your lovely friends. And then how to use the other side. So that was right. This was this side. The back side. You want to put some plastic wrap on it, and you want to give it enough space, enough wrap in between so that it has enough wrap to go in. And then yeah, let me show you how you can add the dough. This one, the designs are a lot more delicate, and because of the wrap, you do have to really press it down hard and make sure it will hold that design shape. And then maybe I'll do green fish. Again, press. So you can see that what I mean by, if this was too taut, right, then it may try to lift up the the next door, the neighboring tashiq. So yeah, it's important to kind of have enough space for that. And then maybe we'll do pink leaves, and I'll probably stop there just because you know that's the other ones. Actually, the sesame seed or the black ones, unfortunately, it's not going to show the design very well, so I'm not gonna even bother. Okay, and then there we go. You just lift it up, and oops, it had a carrot, but yeah, see the turtle design. There we go. And then the fish, you can see the fish design, and you can see the leaves. Isn't that just perfect? So pretty. Well, there you have it. I made some lovely 5-color 오방색 tashiq with you today. And I'm now going to enjoy. It's actually almost dark here. Can't believe the time has gone so fast. So I'm going to have some of, this is actually a tea, 뽕잎차. It's mulberry leaf tea. I actually have that on my shop too. So I'm going to, it has a wonderful roasted green tea kind of flavor. It has a lovely green tea matcha flavor, and kind of melts in your mouth, but that is actually a little bit of chewiness too in the background. So I hope you enjoyed watching me make tashiq today, and also I hope you'll get to make it. If you're interested in getting the pretty tashiq pan, I do have a shop Kimchimari shop where I sell it. You contact me and I will give you information there. And yeah, have a great Lunar New Year, or a great afternoon tea, or with your friends. And yes, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Cheers. Bye.